Imagine a world where the lines between the physical and the heavenly merge, where a single character enters history, not by accident, but by a deliberate design from above. Imagine an unwavering, fearless leader standing in front of a large crowd and expressing his respect for the Almighty. Is it just the political sphere, or is there something more profound going on? What if Donald Trump is not just a leader, but also a divinely destined vessel in a larger plan that is being unveiled right now? Friends, think about this. Christ is represented by a strange stag that enters the church during prayer. With a soft murmur from the sky above, its antlers pierce the silence. Providence from God. Could it be a message from God? Thus, a meeting of leaders began with a prayer so powerful that it reverberated far beyond the walls, rousing the very soul of a country, rather than with the customary policy debates. It is real, documented, and developing. It is not just a myth. But every stride he makes brings with it great challenges, attacks so fierce that they appear to be ripping through the air, like a fight of the spirit. What is the reason for this opposition? Is it possible that he is interwoven with a larger story, a church rising, a conflict between light and dark? Stay by my side. This story connects to our shared soul, our ideals, and a call that begs us to pay attention to its message. It goes beyond the path of a single person. Permit me to take you to a place that seems to jump from the hallowed pages of old legends, a story so deep that it seizes your heart at the first sound. Imagine a guy called Donald Trump, a man who stirs some people's passions and angers others, who is not just a single person but a powerful character in what many believe to be a larger divine story for our divided globe. This story is not about politics as we know it. In fact, it explores something deeper, a stream that runs under the surface of news stories and debates. His public gestures towards the divine are said to be constructed with the objective of bringing back a sense of sanctity. Think about this. A leader who bravely recognizes the supernatural in a time when faith often fades into obscurity. That is just amazing, isn't it? His voice resounds like a clarion cry, calling attention to the divine as he approaches the scene fearlessly. Truly, daring tycoon with the dazzling hair and the sardonic humor. What? Give the clamor an opportunity to subside. It's critical to go beyond the ephemeral words and quick statements. Is the goal of this trip to find our actual purpose, rather than to attain perfection? When he stands in front of the crowd, his voice raises and his eyes lift to the sky, giving gratitude to the Almighty and announcing his splendor for everyone to see. It is obvious in its strength, vitality, and need for care. Think it's a spectacular show, yes, but others? Look at a man chosen, a ship stern but steadfast in its ways. Argue that Jesus has come to lead us back to a starting point from which we have wandered, a place where faith is not just a silent whisper in isolation, but a loud declaration that shapes countries. This isn't just some fantasy story made up. Included are examples that can be replicated, times when Trump's remarks have drawn interest and sparked passion. The crowds, flags, and hands raised are not just in his glory, but also in celebration of a higher goal. For a community that has forgotten the importance of looking up, he seems to be serving as a light of truth. They contend that this function is not purely coincidental, however. The divine plan that has been in progress since long before he assumed the position of president is deeply intertwined with this duty. In order to find the gems concealed behind the turmoil and uncertainty, it is a voyage of repair and a call to rise. Not in the conventional sense, without a halo or cape, but a spark of change. Halo, but a glimmer of hope. Not to be overlooked is more difficult. Listen well and loser. Regardless of whether you are applauding or incredulous, one thing is clear. This story is still in its infancy and is about to unveil its marvels. Let's explore the depths of this extraordinary tale. Picture an electric energy chamber, a place where decisions may change the path of history. Yet, in the middle of it all, a remarkable moment occurs, one that enthralls you. We find ourselves in Donald Trump's first cabinet meeting as president, where the atmosphere is charged with excitement and the unexpected, a setting that may evoke visions of well-tailored suits and the methodical cadence of formal processes. The story you're searching for is not this one. The air is alive and teeming with a heavenly presence, existence, life. Before delving into issues of procedure or policy, the meeting begins with a sincere prayer. It is a forceful, loud plea to the divine, coming from a voice that is not scared to breach the stillness of a world that has turned away. The prayer is not a timid, half-hearted mutter. Kawe. You get it? In it, the gravity was evident at that instant, a sudden burst of brightness, like a lightning strike splitting the sky in two. Imagine a solid wood table with knowledgeable counselors seated around, bearing the weight of a country. With their eyes softly closed and their hands steady, a shepherd or servant of the people steps forward. Father, they commence, and the atmosphere undergoes a transformation. It is more than just words. It is a heartfelt declaration, a fervent plea for wisdom, guidance, and for the divine hands to steer this vessel through turbulent waters. There should be fortitude for the leader, wisdom amidst turmoil, and a governance that not only relies on human intellect, but also humbly submits to a higher power. Most people feel the resonance of those words reverberating through the air, embedding themselves deeply within the hearts of all who gather there. This is not merely a show or an empty act. It is genuine, profound, and marks a significant commitment. Does this resonate deeply with you? Does this resonate so deeply? In deep? Here, belief frequently finds itself pushed aside, hidden in the shadows. Here it stands, bold and unyielding, shining brightly for all to see. The Vici. My craft doesn't merely present this as a pleasant detail. It portrays it as a foundational element, a radiant beacon of the divine, entering the realm of governance. S. When was the last occasion you witnessed a leader's team take a moment, not for accolades or planning, but to lift their gaze towards something greater? Is it greater? It is a bold testament to the beauty found in simplicity. Simplicity. Trump, with his head bowed or nodding in agreement, unyielding and steadfast. Steadfast. It asserts itself, revealing itself as though it were the most commonplace occurrence in the universe. This universe is merely a singular moment in time. It is a time woven into the narrative, a heartbeat resonating just beneath the surface. Some surface serves as a testament, an indication that the divine is still at work in this land, establishing his presence in areas we once thought were barren for the growth of belief. Some belief, and dismiss it as mere flattery. Yet, let us pause and look beyond the veil of skepticism for just a moment. What a moment. Is something greater in play, at if play? Moment, preserved in imagery, examined in hushed tones, is a sign of divine intervention, a fissure in the shield of a world that has lost the art of humility. In humility? In the space, the voices rose not merely for triumph, but for a calling that transcended mere numbers or authority. See authority. Come together in this moment. Imagine a moment, the hands of time moving steadily, the lenses capturing every detail, and a heartfelt prayer ascending like fragrant incense, reaching out to a divine presence that is attentive. It's attentive. A gathering is a sign, a challenge to trust that the divine can transcend the mundane. The mundaneness of the situation lingers in the air. DS linger in the air. One is left to ponder. What unfolds when the leaders of a nation do not merely speak of the divine, but earn divine all upon him? Stay with him? Your journey has just begun. Now, something seems to have been drawn from a dream or a vision so striking it sends a shiver through your soul. Picture a Zol.ng place where the devoted fill the benches, their heads lowered in solemn prayer, the atmosphere heavy with a sense of sacredness. Amidst the sanctity, the whispers of love gently ascend, a tender offering to the skies above, and lo and behold, beyond the ordinary, something remarkable begins to emerge. Behold, emerges. A creature of grace and strength enters the sacred space, in the sty space. At that moment, there was no herald or forewarning, only the abrupt thunder of hooves on the wooden floor and the shimmer of antlers reflecting the light. Whispers of light. Schment feel the air. Look, there's air. Awe-stricken row broad. Heart's paw wander. A moment. What is the moment? Hey, buddy. Suddenly a friend. The story, pay heedale please, is more than just a coincidence. This is linked to significance. Icants, a potent symbol that seems to have been brushed onto the silence by the divine. Standing towering and untamed, imagine quietude, will, the magnificent stag, is a beautiful sight to everyone who sees it. In the stillness, whispers, it's a sign. And they do say the truth, at least to those who see the world through the prism of belief. In the sacred faith, in ancient legends, the stag is more than just a simple animal. It is a beast. This is a voyage into the wide and untamed landscape of our life. It is life. The object is lofty in the face of darkness. Beneath our feet lie the evil serpents. Feet is not this. Biology lesson. It is a timeless story that is being told to us in the present. Bold Now's video. This fact is raced, claiming that it a celestial look. It gives a subtle clue of what is to come. A transformation, a purification, a stirring of the very core of the church. Can you be sensible? Did the assembly succeed? Sick. The prayer. As this unexpected creature, unsigned and unbidden, grabbed the situation, the prayer lingered in the air like a soft fog. Why Ian power and occasioning? According to others, it may be a purifying, the elimination of the hollow and empty within the Almighty's hallowed home. The church has deviated from its proper course, tainted by concessions and weakened by apathy. But disinterest is a Clarithus, with magnificent antlers. Antlers are a symbol. The stag is going through a lot, yet its quiet conveys a significant message. A holy presence is emerging, so much so that the earth under us trembles as we rise. There's an awakening. God's message. Focus. During that time, there was a noticeable tension. The respect, the questions, the delicate dance of dread and wonder. Did it desti amazement.ld in this way? Not in a possible way. Is conceivable. Nay, really genuine. The video is real, a turning point, the point at which the holy emerges and the everyday breaks. And now for the next one. It's unquestionably a lovely picture. Indeed, it is an image that reverberates with the brave voices of a congregation that not only adorns the space, but also rises with power. Observe the strength, a genuine herald of change, announcing a moment when the lukewarm terrest is set aside and the wheat is separated from the tares with his unflinching stare and unyielding stride. Come together now, closely now, see oneself up close. The air is charged with excitement in that pew as the unbelievable unfolds before your own eyes. This is an appeal for action, not a stag in the whole thing. In the fabric of the present, this is a supernatural intervention, rather than just a coincidence. What does this signify? This question mark. What is going to happen here? Our voyage? May the answers travel? Die. Yet they are alive, pulsing with vitality, pulling you in. Because it's likely that the narrative is going to take an amazing turn if the owl is exhibiting indicators like these. Let's unpack this story and examine a declaration that is both bold and breathtaking. Donald Trump is more than just a leader. He is a symbol of purpose, a note in the vast orchestration of a greater scheme. The finer points of a White House suit or a bossy voice giving commands are not relevant to this subject. For many, he stands towering above the political chaos, carrying a message that endures through the decades. Imagine him as a lowly vessel, worn and imperfect, yet securely held by a force that is exclusively his own. He is neither the mediator nor the dividing figure. The video talks plainly. UMP's participation is not by accident, intricately woven into a great tapestry that stretches back to the dust of old roots walked by people like David, who was a simple shepherd. Is this story of chance? For Moses, a modest moment, David, a reluctant refugee with a stutter. Moses faced a powerful Pharaoh with just a staff and a holy promise that blazed brilliantly inside him. He stood erect against giants while chained in a sling, because the Lord said, "We turn our heads away from them." To Trump, hits Trump. Trumpson hits Trump. Crazy, almost ridiculous. He is a figurative figure. In a soft voice, wisdom whispered. He is a human tornado, wild and uncontrolled, and a booming source of insight. Nevertheless, humanity is humanity. Essence of the situation. When the call is heard, the people who are ready and willing to embrace the flames are chosen by the sacrifice of the perfect. Because he is embracing a goal far bigger than himself, rather than because he is faultless, you are standing against a strong wave of opposition, each heddle himself, each punch. It is not just politics, it is a snarl of defiance. He is opening doors that were never meant to stay closed and upsetting the quiet waters. Think about the significant shot. Take into consideration, not armament. The attacks are relentless, savage, like a pack surrounding its prey. What is the cause of behavior? Wouldn't the noise ultimately lessen if he were for many? Gradually diminish? However, it doesn't. Is it diminishing? Its edge not. Reaches out to him. This realization is not shocking to those who understand its many facets. This insight is not shocking since it is a tool of the divine. Aftershock is common among the chosen. Tie-in. Here is David seeking attention while resting in the cavern's shadows. Look, Moses went after the by-caves. Army, as those closest to him asked him. He is extensively explored in the video. Idea. Trump's difficulties are not merely scandals or mistakes. They are significant trials, proof that he is on a path. What matters is not just his darkness or his temper, but also the core of his beliefs and the passion he inspires in others. And what would it be? They specifically say, "and return." Serves as a reminder to a world that has forgotten its creator. Not to smooth out the creator, he arrives. He comes to break the darkness and let the brilliant light spill out, not to repair the broken or damaged edges. David was now facing Goliath. The story goes that Moses is a liberator of burdens, just as he ordered the seas to split. What shadows are a power that finds the name of the divine offensive? Shadows, a force that hates the mere phrase. This is not just a campaign trail, it is a battlefield, steeped in history and brimming with life. Let's take a time to consider the essence of life, where life is flawed together and full of life. Imagine a flawed, well-mannered, and majestic guy being swept out of Forge. He didn't forge it. Is he a king in the flesh? Is there a deliverer who looks like Moses? Like Moses. How about David? Something flickering in the Moses. Creation that the Almighty has been working on. You're invited to not craft in the video? Agree, but to think and consider if Trump is more than just profoundly concerned. If he is a part of a larger divine story, then this story goes beyond his own path. It describes how this voyage will arouse everyone. Let's plunge into the choppy waves, where the force of it makes the air tremble. This story is about Donald Truepower, a guy caught up in a disagreement, not the persona shown in headlines or debates. Here, a guy finds himself embroiled in a dispute that takes place in worlds that are invisible to the human sight. The truth, the I, is shown in the video. The attacks on him are more than just criticisms or political slurs. They are a terrible, unrelenting storm that is like arrows falling on a single hero. What is the cause of the champion? They say, he has an M this. He was chosen. Additionally, Wenmark. The darkness, which is a powerful choice for his holy design, does not stay still. It roars, scrapes, and fights to put out the light before it can enlighten the world. Imagine that every word he says and every motion he makes, when faced with a storm of raper forms, is not just noise. It is a show of concern. Composed, clamorous tune that endures forever. The phrase, "scown waveringly," came quickly. Simpleton, Ivor, and oppressor. Each simpleton's charges build up over time. In order to reflect, the charges build up in each simpleton. Before. The way it seems to reflect and go beyond politics and into the depths of our hearts is remarkable. The opponent, whether good or evil, doesn't spend words on things that aren't important. Instead, it looks for threats and repercussions on things that aren't that important. This is known as the War of the Spirit. It searches for threats and consequences, the kind of flame that never goes out. And they declare that Trump is that. Take into account the stories that have been told throughout the centuries. Think about the stories that have persisted over the years. Observe David, a king whose crown bears the markings of a lowly shepherd, who deftly evaded being sold into slavery by the vengeful Saul. Joseph, who was made a slave by the vassal. Despite being destined to become great, he was put into the den of greatness after being mocked and abandoned by his brothers. Daniel demonstrated his commitment to prayer. There were several chaprayers along these routes. They were shaped obstacles, gauntlets, and the selected don't just go through time, they actively engage. The film eloquently demonstrates how Trump's wounds and problems are reminiscent of those ageless struggles of the past. There is more to the hostility than just past. It reflects the core of what he represents. There is a voice that defies silence. It is me who calls for the divine to be quieted. Descent, a flicky ash, is what contains the potential. An uncontrollable force is ash. Feel the gravity of that moment. Control, position is more than just a passing moment. Voices, it is a persistent force that surges and clings to him as if it perceives his weakness. What causes such extreme vulnerability is there. Just a guy. What about ferocity? Such intense devotion? And now, the response, whisper devotion. The darkness, because he is a tool that impedes a machine that thrives in silence from operating well. This subject is silent according to the Viart. Pole figures and artistic lines. For heavenly numbers, it's an impressive number. Ennis, a battle in which the true prize, rather than just positions, is the essence of souls. The enemy doesn't shudder in front of locations, trembles at the sound of a messenger, a voice imperfect, but unflinching, announcing facts that have been kept in silence for too long. Come on over, my mates. Imagine the burden he carried, not just friendship, but a holy vocation. Every yell and every punch was aimed at his calling. The reality that he has contacted a deeply ingrained nerve. His acts are quite similar to David's confrontation with the giant's nerve, or Moses standing in the line of fire, confronting the powerful water, because he is presenting the truth without a solution and pursuing a cause with unflinching conviction. Statement: this combat, but it also acts as a sign. Proof that the conflict is genuine. It acts as a sign. It arouses warmth when it bravely lights up the gloom. Does he really have no rivals? No, it's not darkness. Why? Aren't they unbeatable? Keted, Tanakh, imperfect. That is all. S. V selected. The pulse. If this is a war, then it's pulsing. If that's the case, then the war has only just begun, and the battlefield is calling to all of us. Allow us to explore a holy region that is trembling on the verge of something big, not the Siral, refined kind you may imagine. That monumental, the church, is mentioned here. Trust, and it isn't at rest anymore. You are captivated and drawn in by the film, which tells a story of upheaval and a significant shift that is affecting the congregation. It's a clarion congregati, and it's not subtle. It's strong, like a strong wind sweeping through a forest that has been waiting for its waking for a long time. They say the congregation is waking up. It is sleeping. It is an era of change, a moment of putting the past behind us, rising again, and facing the realities that have long remained in the shadows. This is not only a soft whisper, it is a call to action, a loud trumpet calling us to see the truth that is in front of us. Previously, the society was split and no longer unified as one. Imagine, if you will, that period. A queue separates one pace in front of us, solid and determined. The wheat, on the one hand, are individuals who remain unwavering in their pursuit of truth, their roots firmly planted in the Holy Book, and who are not deterred by the chaos around them. However, the tares, swaying with deity, those who are caught up in obligations, are swaying far from the firm anchor they once cherished. The reality, sweetheart, is openly shown in the video. It's a period of heavenly sifting, when the Creator is separating the strands to expose what really survives. It is truly chaotic. Families split apart, and discord, but it's alive, and a fresh optimism arises amid that chaos. A light, morning, look, a fire, the blaze merges, says in longing, shedding its warm grasp on the darkness, a request for remembrance and the removal of excess, fundamental characteristics of genuine faith. Accept it as the beat. This story represents the acceptance of tainted customs and the disciplined practices of Sunday assemblies. It makes reference to rejuvenation, a topic that resonates, as well as potential. The church isn't supposed to be a hypothetical idea. The church is a living reminder of the songs of the past. The history is preserved in this hallowed factory. Dead, a place where brave souls steadfastly declare the truth. Imagine the voices of pastors and conviction increasing, obedient spirits, emerging with forceful declarations rather than quiet whispers. They become tired of the tepid declarations. Be careful. They are shown as courageous champion cautious in the video. End conflict, wielding their words like blades, cutting through the mists of a society losing respect for the holy. At this point, the story takes a profoundly spiritual turn. Transformation is not only inward, it also returns. The activities taking place in the streets and authority corridors outside. The congregation is growing to the point of power. To avoid confinement, offering prayers by themselves is not enough. The sermon's mission is to rise, to declare, and to cast a solid, unflinching light into the darkness. The wheat is steadfast in its resistance to the storm, strength to endure the difficulties. This is woven into the video's overarching plot: trials. To revered beginnings is not just sentimental. It is a daring declaration and a challenge to a culture that has traded substance for noise. And those tares, what about them? They are fading the uproar. Is it impossible to take tares? Intentionally, the earth seems to be hardening. Imagine the chin tent and come spend some time with me. Although I am not a structure, I am a dynamic movement, wild, hungry, and organized activity. This change goes beyond a simple recommendation or action. The moment that forces you to make a decision is known as a call to action. Look, the brave are rising. Are you one of them? Make a call. Their voices reverberate through the crevices, calling. A religion that is bold and unrestrained, one that not only survives, but thrives. This is not just a glimpse of the future, it is a resurrection. Now, at this very instant, this resuscitation is happening. The church is undergoing a transformation, openly embracing the contemporary, seeking recognition. In shaky times, a deep question arises in disapproval. When the ground starts to shake, are you able to stay afloat? Let it no quiver as this voyage comes to a conclusion. A loud cry that echoes from deep within you tells you to lift your head. This is the crux of it all, the turning point at which all we have seen is finally made evident. Watching the video encourages you to join the trip. It grabs your interest, pulls you in, and proclaims that this fight is yours as well. Dear devoted hearken, time flies in the world in which you live. Shadows become unfaithful, and you are not here to see it fail. It is your demise to remain steadfast at this time. Undead, your faith glowing hot like an everlasting flame, your heart unflinching. This is an exhortation to ignite, not just an idea, an appeal to join the fight with a voice that can be heard above the chaos and with clarity of vision. Imagine the congregation teeming with life and chaos. Imagine the stag making an appearance and a leader holding steadfast in the face of storms that seem impossible to one person. Like the threads of a vast tapestry, everything is woven together. Despite our distractions, the Creator has been weaving. From this, what can we learn? Our attention is diverted. The genthis, not the awakening. This awakening is not a soft one. Rather, it jolts you out of your sleep and compels you to make a choice. The video's message is quite clear. Pray wisely. It has real meaning. Declare the truth with the urgency of your last breath. Silence is weighing us down and squashing our spirits. Accept the path as it is, not with blind souls. However, with brave conviction, because the task of light does not wait for perfect hands to carry it. Bravery is shown here by putting aside the dust and ite. This story goes beyond our own experiences. Accept your calling. It is not enough to just get by. You have to rise to the occasion. And when the gales howl and action, they declare themselves resolute. It shudders. Raise your voice so that it can soar over the commotion as the crowd roars. Don't only raise your yo-roarshers for your personal benefit, for the church, for Trump, and for all the souls caught up in this turbulent, shaky period. A sincere prayer that reverberates for forever closes the video. Unadulterated and sincere. Lord, lead him. Give her strength. Awaken us. It is an exhortation to triumph. Nothing far away, not at some predetermined period, but right now, against the darkness that tries to hold on. It is a solid angrip, a declaration, not just a dream. deep into the soil of a world that has lost its sense of direction. And for others who just see from the sidelines, this is the voyage of hope that never goes out. It calls out to us to be the hands, feet, and sidelines of a timeless truth that is making its appearance in our world. Imagine oneself completely submerged, not just hovering about the outworld, but actively involved, praying earnestly, speaking with conviction, and standing erect when sitting would have been easier. The church is a place of seeding rather than a relic of the past. Oppose the current situation. Trump is only a member of a large quote. He is not the main character. The narrative. Oh, the real story? It is our story, our story, our story. That tale, fresh day. NG has been waiting to come out. Take this with you then. Let it mix and blend, and let it boil and emerge. Raise yourself. In the midst of the storm, pray for the man gently. For a world on the verge of the divine, negation is finding its might. Declare with courage. Do not whisper, for the truth is revealed divinely. Not turn into a shadow murmur, for together, for the light shadows the darkness. That's when we cling to one another. That prayer still resonates as the video comes to a close. The end of the video also signifies a new beginning. Inscribed in an era beginning, they talk of a promised triumph. Mains that are only partly hidden from us. We have the ability to embrace it, however. We will understand each other, all of our strength. What will it be then? Next action? There has been a summons. Does the quiet remain in response? Accept the challenge. This story is now ours. Answer. This story, occasion, and the weight of its message in my heart. The idea that someone like Donald Trump could be interheart, intricately intertwined into a magnificent yet flawed masterpiece that strikes a deep chord in my spirit. It really creates a feeling of discomfort. I have had a soul throughout the centuries. Admire leaders who walk with integrity, Ivan, cunning, and exquisitely imperfect. However, what if there is a more profound reality? What if the cosmic flaws are closer to Earth than we realize, directing the path of history with surprising vessels? Maybe our greatest vessels may be found in the uncertainty. Not knowing everything might set us on a path of faith and self-discovery. This is a path that calls us to trust rather than certainty. It asks us to ponder the hidden connections that weave our lives into a vast tapestry, and to look at the mysteries. This lesson has a strong and clear resonance. Wet tapestry elves in a period of significant division, not only clearly, politics, as well as in the realm of spirituality. A Kong politics split like wheat and tar landscape is shown in the video. Uggle where bravery and integrity are tested. It is a potent reminder that religion is not a passive endeavor, is a burning inferno that demands that we choose. Trump, stag, and prayer choice are threads in the fabric of life. Get to tell a magnificent story. It is a story in which the spirit of resistance gives rise to a feeling of purpose, and change begins in the souls of the courageous. Elevating a mere mortal is not the goal. It has to do with acknowledging breath. Transformation, a call to recollect. Foundations, to stand with courage and without embarrassment. So, we wonder, what will happen next? You are welcome to visit drashame.r. How about enduir into what you have next? Enter the sacred space, study the texts, and pay attention to what you see. Pray, and have a discussion with someone who has a different viewpoint. Accepting a story as it is just one aspect of this process. Perspective is another. Bursting with its depths, enabling it to light a bright fire within your soul. If your heart is willing, come, let's pray. If you have spirit, speak, urge. We are beckoned by the world's noise. Eek, and the burden of bravery forces us to do something. Instead of just watching this story unfold, let's take action. Ourselves in it, hearts ajar and eyes open, ready for everything that comes next. It is thought that victory has already been predicted. What part will you play next? CE.